I'm gonna start this. All right, let's do this. Your mic's live right now. We are doing this. No, that one. Hey, it's Sunday morning, and I just said fuck it to the countdown. Isn't that kind of like crazy? Welcome to Art of Rock. We're going to talk about stuff to do with music and art and being a creative person, or trying to be a creative person, because all of us are trying to be creative people. Join us here every goddamn week on Sunday at this time on this channel for Art of Rock. This is made possible with ANGELSPIT'S Patreon people who are here. You people keep me going, and I'm going to try and keep you guys going. And actually, we're keeping everybody going. Everybody's keeping each other going. ANGELSPIT'S new album, Diesel Priest, is kickstarting now. Like still. And it's kickstarting like madness. And ANGELSPIT Patreon members get a free digital copy. So go click on that and help me keep my mad fucking shit going. And if you're in the EU or the UK, get it off Bandcamp, because it ain't dealing with tariffs, which is a major pain in the rectum. Oh yeah, it is. I had the honor of having an interview with Sounds and Shadows the other week. Go watch it and go support Sounds and Shadows, because they are 5 shades of rock. And that's a good thing. And if you want to hear some crazy, awesome, killer music on Spotify, there's a link. A whole bunch of the bands here from Art of Rock have put on tracks. So go listen to them, because they're great. And Vince just gave me a new one which got added, and it's bloody awesome. And if you like your music non-stop and crazy, what you need to do first is support their Patreon, because MTV TV have now a Patreon, and it's keeping everything going. This is very important. And then what you need to do is watch non-stop dark alternative rock on MTV TV. If you're in a band, click that email, talk to the MTV TV people. They will put your music on. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. They will play absolutely everything. Remember that a lot of other genre things do not play absolutely everything. They will tailor it to what the audience wants, or DJs. This is a beautiful form of cyberpunk democracy, in which if you send it in, they will play it, and the audience gets to decide whether they like it or not, and then they can go and follow those people. Hey, what a great idea. MTV TV, do it. Welcome to the Art of Rock. Let's do this right now. Your mics are live. I would like to talk to you very quickly about an epiphany I had this week. It's something I have known for 20 years, but I actually got to see it. I was talking to somebody who's a supporter, and it was really awesome. I am increasingly aware that there is a financial class system. Well, there is a financial class system. I've got 10 albums bitching about that. And I'm in what we will call the artist class. That is somebody who has absolutely no expendable income, and from there I survive. Then there is a middle class, who some people call blue collar, and then there is an upper class, which some people call white collar. Now, what's interesting is that when I design a Kickstarter, I design it for artists and blue collar people. I really hate that term blue collar, but medium, middle income people, I guess. And so when I'm creating this stuff, I make sure that people can afford it, and even people who have next to no spare cash lying around, expendable fund cash, can jump on board and be part of this thing. And then also those people who do have a bit of expendable cash can also do it. When I offer something on Kickstarter, for example, the remixes, people in the artist income bracket can still buy something worth $400 because they're getting a product in return that's going to help them grow their business. My very dear friend I was talking to was white collar plus income level, and I do love. We're really good friends, and I sort of really made this understanding that to him and a lot of his friends, spending $500 on something because it's cool is and it keeps artists going is something within their realm, and that is absolutely, completely, and totally foreign to me. I have to think twice about buying a coffee. But you know, some people aren't like that. And what's also interesting is in the climate we're in right now, a lot of people's finances have changed because the kids have moved back in, or the parents have moved back in, or because of what we're going through with shutdown and the real hardships that are going on. Now, I've always known about this cool thing, and the perception of cool. And something that really, really struck me is that, and I've always known that people will pay for cool, or the to be part of cool, or to the perception of cool. That, and it really struck me in our conversation that artists generate cool. Although when you're an artist and you're making your thing and you're failing and you hate everything you do and the ideas aren't coming and you can't afford to buy coffee or meds or whatever, or rent or food, that's not very cool. But from the outside world, people looking in, seeing your cool artist bohemian lifestyle, it is perceived as something cool. Not too many people look at corporate bankers and go, wow, that's really cool. Or at least I don't. So the thing you've got is that people who are in these upper financial classes, Christ, I hate saying that, and I really hate it that it needs to be said, will look on these artists going, wow, this is really cool. What you have is cool. And as an artist, when you take a step back and you go, you know what, it is kind of cool. I'm surrounded by all these amazing people. I can, you know, I have to work like a motherfucker. I'm surrounded by all of this gear, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. My whole life is about taking an idea and turning it into something, into a tangible thing, whether that's a music thing or a drawing or whatever. That's cool. It's very, very cool. So always keep in mind that what you're doing right now, you don't think it's cool. You as an artist think it's toil and shit and awful. But what somebody else thinks when they look at your posts, when they listen to your music, look at your art, they go, cool. It's cool. And I want to be part of that cool. I want to help this person be part of that cool. I want this person to help me also have some of this cool. So I guess that's really my spiel, is just remember that we are blessed to be surrounded by people who are, you know, making more than we are, and they want to help. And they want to sustain that thing. I think it's really important for artists, I'm probably talking to myself a lot here, is to not bitch and complain on social media. Do not try your very best not to talk about poverty. Try your very best not to smash that illusion of cool. Or should I reframe as saying always putting onus on cool. How cool everything is. I personally think that when an artist complains about financial situations, which I am guilty of, it starts eroding from the marketability of that artist, because ultimately you are selling an avatar of you. You are selling an ideal. You're selling an idea. So don't let cracks appear in that surface. And that's it. That's what I got. Adam, I see your beautiful hand. Talk to me.
You know, I'm gonna say and I'm sure many of us have made that mistake now and again on Facebook, and it is one of those things that's very hard not to get emotionally distraught about the course your life is taking when it's, you know, okay, so, you know, you said before, like, you have to think twice about buying a coffee. Well, when you're not even thinking once about buying the coffee because you just know you can't, like, it's really hard sometimes not to get you know, not to have that feeling of distress, right? And not to feel like you need to reach out and be like, you know, the thing is, there is what I have discovered on that note is that if you can transform that so that it's not, you know, so one mistake I've made has been to be like, I am angry with everybody in my life right now because I don't have what I need, and it's not their fault, right? And so what you have to do is you have to give them an opportunity to help you. And I'm going to say that was kind of, you know, just before we went on here, and I was saying, you know, thank you guys for your help with MTV TV and, you know, with your advice on the Patreon and all like that.
Hold on,
That
I'm
is a
sorry.
huge
You
thing. It's
MTV
like,
TV has a Patreon?
oh,
It does?
wasn't really actually intending to plug that, so thank you for noticing. But,
Well, hold on a minute. I'm just going to add that link.
okay.
Your Patreon's getting more pimps than my Patreon, I'll just say. I'm pimping yours harder than mine. I'm sorry, Adam. I just interrupted
I love you and thank you.
But I just pimped. There's
because we
MTV
do need
TV's
it.
Patreon. Jump on it. Keep alternative music alive. I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
Yeah, we really do need it, and thank you for interrupting. But like the thing that the point that I was driving at though is that, like, you know, you have to give people the opportunity to help you, and not be upset if they can't, right? And I think that leads back to what Carl was saying before about, you know, how we kind of do this from the perspective of like, well, we can't afford our own art, therefore we try to make our art affordable to us, right? Um, so I was thinking about this now, Ryan. So this came up recently because somebody was asking a question of the Dresden Dolls, and I happened to jump into the forum on there, and I told this little story about I'd met Ryan Shuck from Orgy, and he had said to me that money is a byproduct of doing something cool. And I went on to say the problem is that history has proven that there's no magic bullet on how to show other people how cool your thing is, right? And that's always one of the challenges that we have getting out there. And I think what I wanted to catch on to what Carl was saying there is that cool is actually the goal. Like, money isn't the goal. Money is like a thing that helps you get to the goal, which is cool, which is why we don't have any money, because we just invest it right back into what we're trying to do most of the time. And art is expensive no matter how you slice it. And the more side hustles your side hustles have, the more you're spending on tools and materials to do that, right? Like, you have to like, you're making music, and that's expensive enough, right? And then you have to like learn how to do graphic design and have all these expensive programs and these expensive machines that can run expensive programs, and then you're producing your own videos and you're doing all this stuff, right? And all of that's expensive, and that's a big part of why we're so damn poor. But if we let people help, you know, give people the opportunity to help is I think the big point that I'm driving at. And that cool itself is the goal. You know, we would all like to be comfortable. That would be really nice. But, like, you know, money is how you get to making more cool. It's a means to an end, not the end in itself.
Thank you. And welcome, Tanner, and welcome. This is a really interesting point, and if you guys, if everybody wants to like kick this around a bit more, I'm okay with it. On the subject of coffee, I'll very quickly say, yeah, I can't afford a coffee, but as soon as a piece of gear comes up that I need, oh yeah, I'll buy that. Although I've been trying to be behaving this year. If anybody else wants to throw in on this, because I think this is a really important thing about your branding. Like the reality of you, Eric. I'm sorry, Vince. Go.
Okay, I'm gonna get a little closer to the mic so you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. I think that part of what Adam was saying, I had a little something to add to that, and I thought he was going where I was gonna go, and then he didn't, so I jumped back in. But I think part of the struggle, like, share that, but frame it differently. You know, like, don't talk about how broke you are. Talk about how hard you're working. Because that, unfortunately, working on something creative is seen as cool. Even though, like, for us, it's a grueling process. And it's like, we're just trying to get to an end product most of the time. But for most people, witnessing the journey to that end product is part of the cool. So sharing the struggle is good. You just don't want to frame it like, look at how poor I am. Look at how bad I'm doing. You want to frame it more like, look how much I'm doing for myself. Look at what I'm trying to do for you. So that you're presenting something in a way that doesn't say, feel sorry for me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I totally agree. Grim, slap me.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely on that note. It's I don't know. I'm trying to formulate it the best way I can. If you find a way to slowly tap into like what is new and what is cool and what is appealing to you or what you're most excited about, that helps, I think, amplify what you're trying to express to people, and it can help provide clarity. So in other words, if people are like, hey, so what are you working on? What's new? You know, what's new in your project? You do a show, right? Or you're a recording artist, right? And you say, oh yeah. And what I've found more than not, often than not, is if you dive into something, you say, well, I got this really big idea, and it involves, like, for instance, Wicked Stories from the Deadlands. I would say it's a deep dive into Grecian lore, and it's just hellish and evil, and it's like a spoken narrative. And as I start talking about that, you might have 7 people around, but 3 people will be like, that's really fucking cool. A few people tap out, a few people say they're not into that, but you're going to find those people, again, I think what everybody's saying is if you actually share what excites you and you start getting into the details, you can find more and more people that are supporting that in one way or another, whether it's financially or, you know, or through viewership. You're going to find those people naturally, because it's really hard to like chase that down, but it can be increasingly easy to find if you start just broadcasting what you're really excited about. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. You know, it's like, just fucking go for it, because you don't know who's going to dig on that. Or you might even find at the end of the day, somebody says, hey, you know what? I'm not really into creepy shit, but I got like 5 friends who love that shit. So give me your link, or give me this, or give me that, so I can share it, because I'm going to forward it to my buddy. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Aaron. That's great. Adam, I'm going to go in after you, but first, here's Diana.
Basically, what I agree. You'll see, I have a very hard time separating my medical life from everything else I do. So I present it and say, hey, this is what's happening right now. But I'm really excited about all this other stuff. It's not a, oh, poor me. It's just that this is where I am right now. And hey, you know, just say hello, you know, help me out just to say hi and be there for me. But hey, this is really cool stuff. I don't know. It's been my entire everything is I can't separate the one from the other, so I'm just being totally honest. Like, this is where I am right now. But hey, help me, because I'm really excited about this other thing I'm doing. I'm trying to explain it correctly, but I think I made my point.
Thank you. Diana, I will say I find your post to be encouraging and inspiring. And if I am ever in a position where I'm feeling down on myself, your fucking posts stop me from being a whiny bitch real fucking fast. So, thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you're going through, and your stamina is inspiring. And I know all of us here, we have, you know, I can work X hours a day, all of us can, but not many of us can do it in pain or stuck to a kidney dialysis machine. So you are an inspiration. I'm going to stop talking now because I can tell you hate it when I do this. And Brett, if I can jump in after Adam, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on what Carl said there. Like, you know, the things that you're accomplishing are mind-boggling to anyone in good health. respectfully. It takes a lot of work to do this kind of stuff, and you know. Anyway, moving right along, I'm gonna support what Grim was saying there a minute ago about spreading what's cool and amplifying it and amplifying what you think is cool. That's how we all ended up here, right? Is because we found somebody told us, hey, you'll think this is cool, and then we found something else that was cool because we found that thing that was cool. You know, like nobody ends up in the underground music scene by listening to pop radio. You know what I'm saying? Like they get into the underground scene because somebody they know is like, hey, check out this thing that's cool and different. And so the more that we are out there saying, hey, here's something that's cool and different, and you know, this is one of those things, like, you know, I'm not trying to plug MTV TV here, but that's a big part of what we're trying to do with MTV TV, right? Is to say, like, look, this is the cool that exists right now, like, and to create, like, you know, when you show to your friends and followers or whatever, supporters, that you know, you're like, okay, they think that you have cool taste in things, right? Like, you know, they like your music, they like your art, they like your DJing, they like the things that you do and the sort of sense of aesthetics that you have, and you know, they're kind of like, yeah, this is somebody who likes things that I like and does things that I like, right? And if you go, hey, check out this other thing, you're like automatically giving that thing value, right? It's like references are the things that create value in the DJ industry, right? And having somebody, it's like, it's not so much an endorsement, but it's you know, like a, you know, this is cool, check it out, and down the rabbit hole. So 100% on spread what's cool and amplify it, because that's how we create more value for everything around us, so the whole thing can come up. I'm done.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. Two things. One, thanks, Adam. Wear a different hat, because everybody right now is broadcasting from within their studio. No, don't wear a fucking different hat, for Christ's sake. Can we not do this again, please? What I'm saying is, there it is, look at your studio from the perspective, yeah, here we go, I should put on my cowboy hat as well. Look at your studio from the perspective of somebody who's never seen it before, and it's a whole bunch of cool shit. And we were talking about TikTok last week. Well, every single piece of cool shit is a 30-second cool thing you can put on TikTok or Instagram or social media or whatever to perpetuate the coolness of your brand. So come at this with fresh eyes. You know, while we've been talking, I'm just saying, you know, Vince, that guitar behind you right now, there's a story behind that. I know it. I'm looking all the stuff on Eric's shelves. I'm looking at Mark's computers and gear. I know Brett's drum kit. I've heard the fury that comes out of it. Rob's got all of those damn knives and synthesizers. Knives and synthesizers. Come on. And Grim's got that background. And you know, we've talked about how you light it and all of this. There's a whole bunch of cool concept going on here. You can't see it because you're in it. If you take a step back, you can see it. You can see the big picture. Very important piece of advice I wish somebody had told me, and this is really heavy, when I was a teenager, is stop hating yourself. Stop hating yourself. And as an artist, there's something cool about helping yourself, because people say that in the angst and in the pain and in the grief, there's music and art. There's not. Art and music's fucking everywhere. And your brain is constantly creating art and music and amazingness. You don't have to be in the depths of pain and heartbreak and self-hatred. You don't. And if you think that, respectfully and sincerely, you might want to get therapy. Because if you think you need pain to create something beautiful, no. You're going to burn out real fast and you're going to end up in rehab. That is a whole bunch of bullshit. You need a clear head. You need focus. You need a clear diet. You need the ability to make sense of thoughts. And health. Go for a damn walk. Health and a healthy blood flow will help you achieve those things. And a lot of discipline. Kung Fu, God damn it. Stop hating yourself. Stop. And a byproduct of self-hatred is you going, oh, what I have to do is crap. People hate my face. They hate my voice. They hate what I say. But you are projecting your ridiculous self-hate image onto yourself, and it's sabotaging yourself. And the real fucker about self-hatred is you begin to believe it. And it gets to a point where the amount of programming, there's a lot of programming that has to take place for you to get rid of that. Yeah, take that one from me. So that's my spiel. Brett, what you got?
So I just want to say I very much agree with what you just said, and as well as everybody else. So for me, cool was kind of, going back then, it's like, I don't know, I just kind of did my own shit, and no one really thought it was cool until one day someone did. It's like, and so cool kind of became an accident. It really, for me, started, I started off on drums, and when I stopped playing in like school bands and such like that, and doing my own thing, it was therapy. I was extremely angry. Still pretty, but not nearly to the levels of when I was in my 20s or earlier. And so I guess my point to that is you've got to have, it's all right to use music and whatnot as therapy, I think. At least it's worked for me. It's not to say that you shouldn't, do what, Carl said there as well, and do your best to have a good diet, clean head, and all that other things. But for me, a lot of that inspiration, a lot of that drive, a lot of that fury that I put into it is real. What I do is I fictionalize it so that I'm not actually attacking somebody or something specific. Instead, I'm attacking the ideas or whatever that created it, and that is kind of what it's like. It makes a lot of my friends and whatnot who like industrial music. They do not like my lyrics. They find them way too evil. But I grew up 5 miles from Jim Baker, so that's the atmosphere I grew up in. I don't know. Cool's a very different thing for me. It's very much a self-driven thing that it's kind of come out of accident. I'm doing this because there's a part of me that needs to be able to express this safely. And that's this world. I made up an entire world for it to live in. And outside of that, cool is a kind of self-manufactured, maybe accidental.
Brilliant. Thanks, man. That was great. Rob, talk to me.
I totally agree. It's it's all about creating. And if somebody likes what you create, then they would call it cool. But for the individual, I'm not trying to create cool myself. I'm just trying to be better. I'm trying to learn, trying to be better at the techniques, at the tools that I have. And talent is never substituted with money. I spent a lot of my career working hard and growing my skills, but I never took enough time out for self-expression. I did when I was young. I didn't in the middle of my career. Now that I'm kind of getting there, I've got a lot more time and money to create and express. But I don't create to be cool. I create because of it's a passion. I love to make music, and I love to help others on their journey. And at the earliest age, the reason why I got into promoting music locally is because I was so sick of seeing my friends busking on the street for a few coins so they could pay for a string so they could do a gig on a Friday night, and then they would get drunk and drugged up. They would sell their gear to get more money to pay for rent, and they just went in this endless loop over and over again. And it's the worst dilemma that I could ever imagine for a human soul. And my passion is not to be cool. My passion is to help those people on that journey and succeed on that journey. And it's a reality. I spot people with talent, and it happens that those people with talent are in the worst place of their life. And the only thing that I can do to help them get out of that rut is to pay them to help them out with some artwork that they're creating for me, or it's to collaborate with them so they feel uplifted and I can push it further where they don't know how to push it further. To me, that is gold. That's the essential growth opportunity. And, you know, to be honest, I've made music where I was totally experimental with equipment and I didn't think it was cool. But my buddy says, Rob, when I was in remission for cancer, in my bed, going into remission from cancer treatment, I listened to your 4 tracks for 10 hours and it got me through. That's not cool. That's amazing. That's a blessing. And the creativity is what creates humanity. It's not the money. It's not the fad of what looks cool. Yes, it's unfortunate that great artists don't make a lot of money. But guess what? Even the successful ones who end up making a lot of money, the money doesn't change their music. It's still the same person making their own creativity and talent rock. Money, if anything, it destroys them. So I get your pain. I understand that it sucks being poor, but there are people like me who want to help people succeed, and I'm all about becoming a better person. That's all from me.
Thanks, Rob. That's amazing. And I'll just say it's always, you know, all you have to say to an artist to change or a person is to say, what you're doing is awesome. I believe in what you're doing. Keep going. Thank you, mate. Mr. Grimm.
Hey, so yeah, in tandem with that, I always think about the notion of people find out about a lot of projects late, you know, or they say, oh man, this is so fucking cool. Like, is that still on the air, or are they still making music? Nah, sorry, it was really badass, but now it's gone. I hate that notion. It's like, it's one thing to find the joy of discovering something, but if I were to circle around to anything, I'd say keep doing what you're doing while you still have the ability, the time, the drive, the anything to do it, you know, instead of just being like, you know, I had a project, but that was like 8 years ago and it just kind of fizzled out, you know. It's, you know, do it while you can fucking do it. And then on that note, it's no skin off your ass to help promote that other project, because I think people are highly, highly competitive and it's very difficult to break that. But I think this is an actual good platform here. Literally, this call, this time, this Art of Rock, these sessions are an amazing time to be like, fuck yes, and fuck yes to every single project that's here, because you can help amplify everyone's bottom line to where people start discovering it more and more, instead of, that's the project that used to be a thing. No, it's a fucking thing. And it's happening right now. And, you know, and you never know when somebody's going to grab and latch onto it and really love what you're doing, because it could be your exact recent project, or your project that is happening right now, or the one that's about to launch. But if you're not excited about it, they're going to be like, oh, all right. I sounds like they're quitting, so maybe I should just, you know, jump off the train here. But no, fucking, you know, do it while there's a lot of excitement, and help promote people, you know. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Don't be the thing that never was. Be the thing that fucking is. There you go.
That's excellent. Thank you. Tanner, it's always good to hear from you, man. What do you got?
I have some beautiful stuff to say. I don't hate myself anymore, and I haven't cut myself for 5 years. And I just love what you said, that you have to stop hating yourself. And I just want to share that sometimes you don't hate yourself. Your symptoms of self-hatred is because you hate the world, and you don't want it to stay the same, because deep down you know your pain and suffering is going to become someone else's pain and suffering. And that's where the duty of being an artist comes in. Our art is pain relieving, it heals, and it pushes people to bring about change. And a lot of people, they may not agree with that. They want things to be the same. They like their meaningless fashion and their vague lifestyle of plastic illusions. And they live in, prosperity while those around them suffer. When really we agree for that system to be held. We agree for prosperity to exist. So I just hope that one day my art can, help people realize that you're agreeing to this fucked up world, and get mad, get angry. Don't take it out on yourself, because it's not even your fault. It will be your fault if you die and things stay the same. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Tanner. That was brilliant. I want to actually tap on some things some people have said. It's funny. I was going through the worst breakup of my life, and this random guy in a bar I just started talking to said, you don't have the right to act, you have the right to react. And do it in a calm, gentlemanly, healing manner. And that was one of those moments. But it's an interesting thing that increasingly I am finding that I don't have the right to react. That expectation that something else is becoming my voice. That there is something going on in our society, and this is something I don't really want to get into too dearly, that is dictating what you're supposed to say and what you're supposed to think. Once upon a time, it felt like it was the big bad corporations. Now it feels like everybody else. Thought police. We're all thought police, and we are. And that idea makes me fucking angry. And you have the right to get angry, and you have the right to voice your anger. And that's why we have art, music, rock and roll, is to say something is fucking wrong, and I am not tolerating this anymore. This is fucking bullshit. And if you want to say that as a character, as yourself, as whatever, or you can write a love song. Look, man, whatever, it's your call. But I know where I'm at, and where a lot of us are at, is we're not happy with the shit salad that's being served to us. And we're saying we're not going to eat this. And it's very, very important that you keep saying, we're not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat this shit. And that takes a lot of boldness. And it takes a lot of, the biggest barrier you have is that expectation in your brain saying, oh, they're going to cancel me. They're not going to like me. They're not going to buy my thing. They're not going to be my Patreons. They're not going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When in actual fact, they're probably thinking the same thing. So many people are thinking the same thing. And I've said this before, when I listen to the music of the 60s and the music of the 90s, specifically Rage Against the Machine, and I just go, we need now a voice of saying we're not eating the shit sandwich anymore. We're not doing, this is bullshit. So that's my thing. If anybody else has something, and hey, Kat, it's good to see you. Yeah, thank you so much. That's great, Kat. Thank you. If anybody else, yeah, Grim, jump in. You're muted. Come back. Try again. You got your mute on.
Hey, he's back. All right. No muteness. Yeah, sorry. I'll try take two. That's the story of my show and my life. I was gonna say, as far as topics are concerned, I mean, in the vein of everything that we're talking about here, what have you know what? I guess I'll put everybody on the spot, and you guys can jump in if you like it. What do you find particularly interesting, or the best way to go about like collaborating with people? Whether it's kind of like cold contact, just reaching out to somebody that you've never reached out to, or somebody that you're familiar with. What do you think the best way is to collaborate with somebody, or even kind of pop the flare gun, as it were?
Excellent segue. What I'll say is, I think it's important to say I want to collaborate with you straight up. To make it really clear what if there's going to be business or shit involved, because music, you're co-writers, and that means royalties. La la la. You're straight up about that. You're straight up about the expectation about it, and you don't wishy-washy and ah. You say, okay, we're going to do a collaboration. We're going to do Memphis rules, which means whoever's in the room gets a cut. So that's going to be a 50-50 split. We are going to release what we're going to start with a single, and if that goes somewhere, we'll do an EP, and if that goes somewhere, we'll do an album. Some people are not into side projects. For example, me. I'm not into side projects because they take so much time to promote. It's like, we all know how much work's involved in getting a band or a product or a thing going. It's full time. TikTok and Twitter and fucking Facebook and Instagram and now you want another one. So, you know, I would be saying it's going to be my band versus your band. So we don't have to set up this new account, and we don't have to treat it like it's a side project. La 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 la. Although that sounds really irrelevant, and why the fuck did Carl just say that? It's kind of important because you're promoting something. Otherwise, you're fucking around. Don't get me wrong. There's always a time to fuck around. So you make it really clear what all the structure is going into it, and then you go, let's do it. Other people are just going to go, fuck it, do it, and see where it goes. I've done that in the past, and it hasn't always worked out. Because there's always going to be a shouting match, and there's always going to be calm, awesome, creative time. Your choice on communication importance will dictate when that shouting match is. The shouting match or disagreements or heated conversations about business could be at the very beginning, or when we haven't done anything yet, or it could be at the end when we've done all this stuff and what are we going to do? Fuck it, let's just walk away from it. Been there a few times. So that was the worst answer in the world. And also know that a lot of musicians have shit 6 months lined up in advance. So if you say, I want to do something with you, let's set aside March next year. And we're going to, you know, butter, and make contact every 2 weeks, every month. Hey man, I'm really looking forward to this. Let's have a Zoom and kick around some lyrics, you know, just to start egging it forward, to know that you are dedicated, because so many people are surrounded by flaky human beings. My God, flakes, man. Oh no, yeah, man. And, you're gonna do that. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. All right, that's it.
No, that's absolutely worth addressing, because you got to manage your expectations. You know, and you can't come in just being like, oh, it's going to be great, and we're going to build a giant castle. It's going to have a big old drawbridge, and it's going to have a dragon on the outside. And then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, it's like a cardboard shack with a shitty door. This isn't how I pictured it at all. But no, I get what you mean. I know that's a big old rabbit hole, but I was just thinking in the vein of collaboration and helping one another, you know. Yeah, I think, the approach kind of varies. So yeah, and if anybody else, I don't know, has any ideas or you feel like jumping in?
Why, Brett?
So the only time I've had that work and work well for me, I had a friend that we both worked. Well, actually, we were coworkers. I hired him initially, but this was, you know, computer tech stuff. Anyway, it started off, I was doing music and whatnot, and I was kind of doing my own thing under a different name at that point. It was a long time ago. And he came in, and I forget, there was some sort of game or something that was like on the Xbox. It might have been PlayStation, but they were bringing in all these songs. And they're like, yeah, I did this on the game session last night. And so one day I was like, you know what? All this stuff, you're just playing with loops. It's not that it's bad, but there's so much, if you're interested, there's so much further you could go. And so I just one day opened up Acid at that time and played with some loops that I already had and put something together in about an hour, brought it in, and I was like, look, you can go further with what you're doing. And Jacob was interested. And so he grabbed the same copy of the program I had. We were broke and pirating everything. So, but he started messing with it, and we started trading stuff. That's how the collaboration began. And then what happened was, it's like I brought him an actual song. And it's like, okay, look, let's take this out of Acid. This is what the synths and everything in my studio can do. Here's a track. Take it home. Beat it up, do whatever you want to it, have fun. Remix it, make it your own, whatever. I don't care what it's called. And he came back, and the song was honestly a good 50% better, than when I left. So we just started working together, and we formed God, and we did that for about 5 years until we got married, and that ended that.
Marriage ends a lot of fun stuff.
His wife really didn't like us hanging out.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. If anybody else have thoughts on, if somebody has oh, fuck it, let's just do it. Rob!
So what is a collaboration? That's the question. Because you might be in a band and that's a collaboration. You might be be working remotely because of COVID. You're still in a band because more than one person says we should do something together. The only thing that you're gonna actually produce is the thing that you agree together on. So there's gonna be tons of stuff that you don't agree to because it's not my taste or it's not your riff or whatever the case may be. As a band, that's all about finding yourselves. And working from home, it's even harder because you're not in each other's face for 10 hours a day, jamming and finding your groove together. So if you're only doing onesie-twosies, you will get frustrated. You will get kind of sick of it and say, this is not going to work out, I don't have time. But if you were taking the time traditionally to have a garage band and just play some covers together to feel where you're each other's at and watch each other's cues, you've got to have that interaction as artists to understand how each other performs. And then if you start mucking around and creating some new vibe, yeah, that sounds cool. What if I put this beat to it? What if I put that beat to it? Oh, what if I do this fill? What are you going to do then? Oh, I wish we had a vocalist, somebody who could write lyrics. Oh, I wrote lyrics for this, but I can't sing. Oh, well, that sucks. Oh, my girlfriend sings. She screams. Awesome. Let's give it a go. And you find a click where you make something happen. And it might be one click in 12 months where you do something awesome together. And it's kind of like a one-hit wonder. But if you don't keep doing it together, you'll never get to the album. You'll never make more than one good sound together. And collaboration is hard work.
That sums it up. Collaboration is hard work. Collaboration is not it's really important that I'm currently collaborating with Miss Ballistic, and we will meet once a week on Tuesdays at 4:00 for a Zoom, and we will work on lyrics and music for an hour. And it's so funny that sometimes I go, that's absolutely nothing. But then I look at the amount of work we've done, which is a lot, and then I look at, well, when you don't do it, it's nothing. And plus the troops everybody is staying enthused. And, you know, Aaron, maybe in answer to your question, instead of going 6 months out, maybe you should say, tell me when we can meet on Zoom every week or whatever form of media. Every week, like church. It only has to be an hour or two. When can we do this? And we are going to do this because that's it. It's so hard that, you know, I know so many of you guys want to collaborate, but it's the whole, how the fuck do you do that with somebody on the other side of the country with a family and a job and decide on a time. You don't break that time. You do that time. That's when you do it. So what I want everyone to do later today when we're off camera, off stream, is if you want to collaborate, because I know some of you people do. You collaborators, figure out a time when you want, pick a damn partner, figure out a time when you can Zoom and make it fucking happen. And like Rob said, and you summed it up, collaborations are not easy. And if you like we were talking about hating yourself before, if you really hate yourself, form a band. And then if you really hate the people you're with, go on tour. And if you want to ruin their, how does Depeche Mode do it? Like, really? Well, they have Fletch. You know, that's the joke about Depeche Mode, is that, you know, everyone laughs at Fletch. He keeps that fucking band together. How do you do it? You know, how do you fucking do it? I have I have nearly got restraining orders. Ex-band members have nearly taken restraining orders out on me and I on them. My God, the stories I could tell you. The fucking stories I could tell you. Grim, go.
Well, on that note, and as an aside, I've seen videos of like Slipknot, and they're backstage. He's like, I fucking hate you so much right now, you fucking little bitch. And then like they get on stage and they just murder the show, and then like they're fine. Or they'll find something that like breaks the moment of tension to where all of a sudden it's funny, where he's like, where's that smell coming from? I think it's Craig's gloves. He hasn't washed them for like a week. And then all of a sudden he goes, all right, everybody get ready. Let's rock the show. And fuck Craig's gloves on 3. 1, 2, 3. And all of them go, fuck Craig's gloves. And then they all go on stage. But no, all that being said, no, you definitely got to find that time. You have to find that time to collaborate. My partner in crime and another guy that plays at least 4 characters in Grimm is literally halfway across the world. He's stationed overseas. So there are times where I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, thinking about going to bed early or some silly shit, but then he hits me up on a messenger and says, hey, do you want to chat? Fuck yes, I do. Because otherwise I'm just going to lay in my bed, you know, and wish I was going to sleep or something stupid or try to force myself to go to sleep. But then those become really productive sessions. Because he's like, I had an idea where Hack does this or Slash does that or this Reaper or this thing or have you ever thought about, or just some shit that he's excited about because he loves D&D and building worlds and storytelling. So that can inspire you to think of other ideas or eventually pull them in, and we might make that something for Grim Life. Or, you know, just by happenstance, I haven't told him about a project yet, and that turns into what we were talking about earlier, is finding that spark and being like, fuck yeah, I got something exciting to talk about, and people need to know about it. And sometimes even somebody as close as my buddy, who's literally the other half of this show, I hadn't told him about it yet, you know? And I might say, oh yeah, by the way, I have another installment for this, or I have another thing I'm going to film soon. So yeah, collaboration's everything, because I think it's stuff that you wouldn't otherwise arrive at if you were just by yourself. So, yeah.
Totally agreed. And that's another really interesting thing, is that some people like are impromptu, like, oh, I've got this idea, let's talk right now. And other people are like, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. That's when we meet. I have personally find that it's the structured, rigid one that wins. Hold on, here she is. That's the thing that for me wins totally is that you have to say this time, this place, every fucking week. We're gonna meet up and we're gonna do this thing. That's what I got. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw in there?
The only thing I would add to that is I agree. In fact, typically Sundays are when I do my thing. Just to be a little bit of extra blasphemous.
Excellent. Makes sense. Okay. Wow. Well, that's great. So, does anybody have another thing they want to throw in, to talk about, or what's going on?
I mean, the obvious is it's not going to happen if you don't ask.
Absolutely true. And we've got the Discord, and we've got here, so, you know. I see hands. Rob, go.
We talked about this scheduling thing before, and my everyday job is wall-to-wall scheduled meetings, and it drives me nuts. But that's how I get paid. So you gotta work to pay the bills. But outside of that time is my creation time and my time in the synths and swords room, if you like. And I let things come. I don't pressure myself. I take time out. Most of my thinking occurs outside of this room. I come in here when I want to do the thing that I've decided that I'm going to do. But 90% of my process is outside of this room. I have to be, when I collaborate, I am at the back end of the process. So my collaborators are extremely patient because they have nothing else. They don't have any money to pay for mixing. They don't have any money to pay for a friend to play a bass guitar because they can't probably afford a bass guitar, and they never learn. They can't afford stuff. So they will wait 2 years for me to do something because it's better than what they've got. And in most cases, the really good artists are full-time professionals working their asses off in a day job. And if they could stop that job and pay the bills doing music, that would be freaking awesome. But it's a very small percentage of the world who actually love their job and get paid well for it. Very rare. So we're all mostly in the same boat, that you either don't get paid well or you hate your job or both. And so when I'm working with other artists, they're patient. They never hassle me. I hassle them about content. I hassle them about, do you like this? What sort of logo do you want? Have you signed up to Spotify? Have you ever looked at this? And they'll answer me very quickly. Some of them never text me. They'll send me verbal messages. They'll hit record. They'll talk to me on record and send it. And so I can't even go back and find out what they actually told me through email, because they don't use email. They just use their phone to record voice. And that's because they're a different type of person in a different time frame to me. I'm used to everything being electronic and finding everything stored. They often don't, because the only thing they have is a phone and a guitar. So it's very different for me because I'm pro bono, I guess. I'm not charging anyone for anything. I'm just doing it to help people. And when they want to get help, they're grateful that I did something. Even if it was them saying, Rob, I've got this hum going through my desk. How do I get rid of it? I work through the problem with them. I help them out. Yeah. You gotta educate people so they can get to that next level. And it's not about me, it's about them. So getting them to their next level. So my collaboration is not traditional or classic. It's really just Tail End Charlie helping people on their journey. And I'm gonna be very clear. Somebody who asked me to collaborate with me was literally 2 years ago, and I've done nothing to help that person whatsoever. He is a phenomenal guitarist, and all he wants is like a 10-second synth piece. But he tells me, he says, Rob, I've been working this one song for 6 years, and I know that it's not finished yet. And so when it comes to you and you think you've got it right, send it to me. But don't send anything before then. Once you've sent it to me, if I like it, I'll be this much closer to finishing. He's just an artist. He's not trying to make money. But he's the most unusual collaborator. He's in Algeria. He's French Algerian. He loves to play Pink Floyd. And everything that he plays is very like Pink Floyd. And that's why he wants me to make a synth sound very similar to that. And I feel embarrassed that I've never gone and done that piece of work. But he's so patient with me. He's so patient. And I'm sure I'll get there. I've written down a full page of ideas. I've captured snippets and samples to put that piece together. But he's taking the long route, saying, inspiration will come. When it comes, send it.
Wow. That's zen. Vince?
Okay. On the note of patience, I know we tend to talk to each other a lot on here as if we're the only ones here.
You're breaking up, Vince. We can't hear you.
So in the interest,
Vince, that was possibly the best cyberpunk vocal take I've ever heard in my life. But unfortunately, we've lost you. And we were literally hanging off every word. You back?
am I back?
Yeah, Vince, you're going to have to repeat the whole thing because we missed it.
Awesome. Yeah. That's how my day is today. Great. All right. I'm saying on the note of patience, it's important to remember that not everyone you reach out to for collaboration is necessarily going to answer you at all or right away if they do. Also, sometimes it's important to build relationships with people before you approach them about a collaboration, because not everybody's going to want to just hear from some random person that's a fan or another artist and want to work with them immediately. And I think that oftentimes when we have conversations in this Zoom, we forget other people are watching and we talk to each other like we're the only ones here. So that information is more in the interest of people watching the show than those of us participating.
Thank you, Vince. Also, be really careful what you say, because I've had people email me in the past and say, man, I really like what you do, but I feel that I can help you take it a notch higher. It's like, don't fucking say that to me. Like, you know, hey, let's do something fun together, I think is the approach. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of amazing content. Like, thank you. Does anybody else want to throw anything in at this point, Adam? I see your hand, Adam. Sure. And it's standing up on a cliff with the wind blowing in my hair and my cloak blowing behind me, Adam. And the wind rushes across my nipples and I'm getting so hot, Adam, because you are the wind.
About to break out a drum.
I thought you were going to say some lubricant.
Well, that too. That's how I start.
Remixing. Come on, get back on that track.
Thanks, Adam. That was a good point. Anybody else?
I'm honored to be your real-life York peppermint patty experience.
Yeah.
As for collaboration,
That's a phrase I never thought I'd hear another man say.
I'm
we were
listening.
talking about patience before, right? On the subject of collaborations, though, you know, I really, I love the whole like take this thing I'm working on and run down your rabbit hole remixing thing, you know. And you know, Rob talking about patience. You had me thinking about my own process on that. How I tend to be like, you know, so when I'm working on something, you know, in my case, like I kind of like I like to like live in it for a while and listen to it until it's sort of, you know, until it is sparking that creative thing. Like I kind of have to have nightmares about it and stuff, you know what I mean? I have to have fever dreams and really let it, you know, process into my mind. And it does sometimes take a while. Like deadline, you know, I know Carl is really like big on deadlines, and I'm gonna say like deadlines help. So when I've done remixing with Carl there, it's like, you know, you know, there are times where I'm kind of like, okay, I have like 3 weeks to work on this, and I'll sit and I'll chew on it for a couple of weeks and like blow the thing out in an obsessive weekend or something like that so that I can get it under the deadline. But it's like all those ideas have to be there before I can start trying to actually make the sounds happen, you know. And I think that's kind of one of the tricky things about collaborations is that you kind of need to balance that sense of having the creative space and the creative time to like do your piece, but also have those deadlines like to keep you on track with the project. And I really like what Carl was saying about scheduling it ahead and doing the check-ins, because I think that ties into what you all were saying too about the garage band thing that Rob was talking about, right? About like getting into the garage and, you know, blasting through some songs that you all know your own in your own heads, like, you know, run through some cover songs and see how you groove together kind of thing. Like I think doing those kind of things and checking in and doing like little writing and jam sessions kind of thing before you actually work on a project, I think that's going to save an awful lot of time and expense later in the project too. You know, like, you know, we talk about, you know, the old days on tape, it was extraordinarily expensive to go into the studio. So you didn't even go into the studio until you knew what you were going to lay down on wax, or you were working with somebody who was funding it for you to go into the studio to write. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like at that point, it's like, you know, every time you balk the guitar solo and go back to it, it's, you know, that kind of thing. So you really had, you know, the rehearsal time and the practice time and the you know, I completely agree that even in the age of digital collaborations and being able to produce this stuff like very much on the fly, I still think it's you know, you know, actually, you know what I was thinking of while you were talking before, Carl, was the stuff that you were doing with Ryan, right? How you're just like doing these kind of open jams, and like that stuff's amazing because like you guys hit, you know, like, and it got better as you were doing it because you guys were kind of locking into the way that you play together. It became something else. And I think that's really what you're trying to do in a collaboration, right? Is you're trying to bring a piece of something that you do and do something else.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up about collaborations now, but I appreciate what y'all have been saying.
Thank you. Grim, what you got?
I would like to propose a topic for the art of rock. And it could be a recurrent topic. And in other words, or simply titled, What's New? I think that'd be cool as hell. I think if it's a thing that you found, whether it's vocal techniques or crafting a new instrument like Carl was recently, or something that you found aesthetically pleasing, I think I would like to propose that as a topic. So for instance, what's new, at least in my book, is that I find backgrounds that are fabric shower curtains, not shitty plastic vinyl, and it makes for incredible badass photo shoots. And on the topic of photo shoots, I saw a music video recently where they had VHS tape ripped and strewn apart, but then they had a fan current going, and it created this swirl of what looked like black liquid oil, but then they also did the effects in reverse. Holy shit, mind-blowing. So any rate, I digress from my point, but just as examples, I would like to say that the topic I think should be what's new, and people can share like really badass, cool ideas that they either found or kind of innovated or created.
That's great. I love that. That sounds like a pool of inspiration that we can all pour inspiration into. I'll tell you something that's new, if you want. Two things. One, VHS tapes you can use as a modular synthesizer part. They have a really interesting resistance, so you can use it as a resistant construction. And it's me that lives next to the highway, so especially on Sunday morning, they seem to go really loud. You can actually hook it up to a modular synthesizer, so it becomes a ribbon controller. And it's cheap and easy. Like, it literally costs pretty close to nothing. I'm currently working on this. Oops. Ta-da! It's a cigarette box with bits on it, so I can take the spikes off, and I can retune them, or I can replace them with anything. For example, springs. It has under the bonnet 2 contact mics. I have to work on this a bit. And one contact mic comes here, and one contact mic comes here, so I can have a quasi stereo thing. And yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, I can bow it. I have to get a new bow though, because my old bow is ruined. Bows, man, they're so expensive. I'm really talking like a decent bow is $1,000.
Yeah.
And I need, because I'm bowing metal and stuff, I'm abusing it a bit. So I may have to like spend $100 on a bow. Can you believe that? But and this is the guy I had hooked up to the distortion pedal, and I'm gonna put more of them. I used something really similar to this on Diesel Priest, and it's really nice because you can, you know, it's got a really nice mute to it. So when you run it through the distortion pedals, and something I'm experimenting with the new ANGELSPIT'S stuff that you Patreon people are going to see first, is it's going to be really noisy and dissonant. A lot of samples of stuff, and I put those samples live. That I hope you guys grab those samples I put up during the week on the Patreon. And it's going to be very. I'm trying to get away from notes. So if I have no idea what that is, what is that note? I don't know, but I'm going to I'm going to be basing it off that note. Or I could just tighten the screws, retune it. Yeah, thumb piano from hell. So what I'm trying to do is like totally relinquish the concept of pitch from my mind, because I am very in every single thing I do, I have too much structure, and I'm trying to escape that structure, and I'm also, you know, I'm getting into more distortion as well. And distortion on things like that are really nice, because it's not just a note on a guitar that's distorted. When complex sounds become distorted, you can, the harmonic spread becomes beautiful. And with that thing, you can hit it with different sticks at different areas, and the actual overtones and frequencies it puts out are vastly different. And when you run that through distortion, it becomes a really lovely thing. B sharp. I was actually working on a script this week for the other job, and it had something that was written in C flat. Oh no, it was F flat. F flat. It's an E. Why don't you just write E? I got so angry. I was angry. But that's my thing. Does anybody else doing something new? There it is. Yeah, and get a pressure zone mic on that. You have a pressure zone mic. Hey, Lucky! Good to see you, boy. Do you have a pressure zone mic with that?
Going on, guys?
Good stuff, mate. Have a seat and join us. Hold on, I'm just talking to Rob about something. Yeah, push him out of the way. Push the hat out of the way. Put a pressure zone mic on that, Rob.
Yeah, I got some in a box here somewhere. I'll pull them out. This is a soldering iron holder.
Yeah, because
but it's a spring and it vibrates. The whole thing is vibrating through my hand.
Fantastic. Springs, man.
That's so metal.
Yeah, and I actually want to. I've got my. I'm trying to get a hold of a piece of plate metal that's 1 foot by 4 foot, and using it as a resonating piece. So I'm actually going to mount that on the metal. So as you hit something, put pickup mics on the metal. So when you hit the metal, it will reverberate. And also, if you move the metal while it's doing it, it's going to have a different. All of these things feed into this sound, and it's the most lovely thing. Does anybody? I feel like I'm boring you guys. Does anybody else want to say something exciting and interesting?
The only thing that I've been that was on the docket to play with a little bit today and maybe throughout the week is I'm planning on taking my bench grinder and run it at full speed for about 5 seconds until I can noise cancel the sound of the grinder. Then I'm going to hit it with different metals and sample them, different materials, see what I can get out of it.
Cool.
I used to do that stuff with band saws, and if you get small blocks of wood, if you've got a bandsaw, it makes a really cool. It makes a really cool noise. It's like, yeah, you get that. I don't even know how to describe it. It's very dissonant.
Yeah, it's a great, big, beautiful, complex sound. That it's shredding harmonics. It's beautiful. I've got. Hold on, I'll show you this. I think this was in the. Yeah, Rob, that's. And mic up each end of that as well. Put a or put a PZM on one end, and as it moves across, the harmonic content is going to be changing. The harmonics and the pitches is going to be. But I had a balloon. You know how you blow it up and you hold the top and it screeches. Sample that shit.
I saw a dude last night. It was a video, and he made an entire drum kit out of balloon.
Out of what?
Out of a balloon.
A balloon.
Yeah. Blew my fucking mind, man. He sat there and he was like, he started off, he was using a looper. He blew it up, but then he started thumping it. He just started thumping it, and that became the bass, and then he started doing like scratches and whatnot on it and changing the tension of the balloon, and he made a whole drum kit out of that thing. I was like, holy crap.
That's excellent.
I just saw a project where they had lighted pillars, looked like bollards on the ground that would divide, like car bollards that would divide the road from the sidewalk. But they're just lit columns. But he's got round head, like, looks like the drumsticks you'd use on a big old, just a big ass drum. Forgive me, I don't know. Just a giant, like a 5-foot drum, but they're the cotton wrapped tops, right? They look like marshmallows. But he had his synths lined up, and I don't know if he had a specific chord structure or just a synth note attached to each one, but he's in a whole light up suit, and while he's hitting it, he's playing like Sweet Dreams from Eurythmics and everything, and it was fucking badass. It was so cool. It wasn't just a dude standing at a board twisting knobs. He's just going bum 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 bum. So it's not what you have, it's how you're using it, and he's just fucking killing it. And it's so cool to see. So that's why I like all the DIY shit. You'd be like, what happens if you drop ball bearings in a metal bucket? I don't know. Let's fucking do it.
Awesomeness.
I don't know if any of y'all are aware, but chickens growl. I recently got some. I'm about to sample some fucking chickens growling. I'm thinking I dropped that by an octave, and that's going to be terrifying.
Epic.
Oh yeah.
I've got this little guy here. It's a petite mismatcher. It's a homemade project by an engineer in the Ukraine, and it's a low-cost video effects synthesizer for composite video. And so this plugs into my RCA component socket of whatever I want, whether it's an actual video like a VHS tape or a pattern generator. I've got a video pattern generator. And it's really cool because you can plug in and plug out of any sockets you want. It's basically like a Eurorack module for video. And it wasn't very expensive. I think it was like $60 or something.
Put the link in the description.
Yeah, I will. It's cool. And there's this guy on YouTube. I'll give him a plug. I'm not going to pronounce his name properly, but I think it's Yovoz. He's a young kid. I'd say he's probably 18. And all he does is experiment with video mixing pattern shit. And he does it for his mates' bands for their live performances. And he does some amazing stuff. Like, the cool thing that he does is he generates feedback from recording the live band in real time, and he combines that with the beat signal coming through the music desk, and then he projects that back on the back screen, and then he just starts creating that massive feedback, audio visual feedback. And he puts different devices in the loop, and obviously as a young kid he couldn't afford any expensive video effects tools. He just gets everyday items, plugs them together and reorganizes them, and makes really cool effects. I'm really digging this stuff. It's really interesting. That's new for me.
Cool. Does anybody else want to throw in with a question or something, or are we going to wrap this up? Okay, we're going to wrap this up because I hate tumbleweeds. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Remember, if you want to help me keep the madness of Angel Spit going, check out the new album. It is kickstarting now, and it's pure amazingness. And we're going to be here same time next week. And remember to follow Angel Spit's Twitch because there's always something crazy going on. Please do, and thank you so much to everybody on the Patreon because you're fucking awesome and you keep me going. So if you're bored, check out Angel Spit's Patreon because there's always random stuff like samples went up there and music files went up there the other day. I want to now raid to the amazing MTV TV because they're bloody awesome, and we're going to go and catch some music on MTV TV. Oh yeah! Too much rock is not a good thing. Let's raid. Let us raid. Rock. Rock.